it going, guys? Altcoin author. So it's been a few years since I've traded commodities, but I've had enough people reach out to me, ask me questions about how it all works, specifically these oil futures. And people, they hear that the cost went to zero and they think, oh, like oil is free, but it's not necessarily the case. There's a lot that's been going on with oil over the last month. You had the butting of the heads between Russia and Saudi Arabia. See, for the longest time, they were part of OPEC Plus, where they're all in agreement to do a certain amount of oil production so that the prices won't negatively affect the other member states. So when Corona started to come in earnest and a lot of price activities were happening on the negative side, you saw that both Russia and Saudi Arabia pulled out of a lot of the agreements of OPEC Plus. And now, instead of negatively or taking down the number of barrels that they put to the worldwide supply, they're actually increasing. And you'll see the incentives that are being put out by Saudi Arabia to North America, Europe, and some of the regions that, yeah, they'll say we'll beat the prices of all these other countries. And that, as a result, has ruffled some feathers and makes Putin mad, makes people in the areas that rely upon oil mad because it does drive down the price quite a bit. But from the economic vantage point of that one nation state, they want their money first, and all the other countries can, sit and wait in line behind them because they want to be the strongest position economically to benefit their people in their country and whatever obligations they have for the region, that sort of thing. So first is there's different types of oil. The most common one they're talking about here in America is the WTI, which is the West Texas Intermediate oil. And essentially it's Texas sweet oil, which it's light, it's low density is what they call it. And they call it sweet because of its low sulfur content. And it's done a lot here in the United States. Of course, it's mostly in Texas. And there's a lot of oil in the United States that is really not even used. It's amazing to me that we do get oil from all over the world when there is a lot of production that could happen in the United States. It's just expensive to get out relative to the costs that they can get oil from different parts of the world. Now compare the WTI with the Brent blend, which is the oil that's out of the North Sea, in and around the UK, Denmark, that sort of thing. And there's like 15 rigs that comprise all of that mishmash together. And that's a price that's a little bit more. It's like $4 more a barrel than you'll typically get on a standard basis. But the whole situation is what one of the analysts on CNBC termed a dog's breakfast. Like, it's completely messy, completely out of sorts. And it's 10 times essentially the normal recession drip that you'll get for these types of, declines that'll happen. Now, this falls into the category, I would say, of Contango. And this is what a lot of people are terming extreme Contango, because in the short term, you have these people that have a glut of oil and they don't have anywhere to store it. So they may have had a bunch that they needed to hedge for price purposes because, let's say they're an airline or whatever, and they need to guarantee that they can get a certain amount of oil based on a certain price. But the problem is that with that oversupply, there's difficulty in actually offloading the oil. And because the tankers are full, the silos are full, or the way that they store it here on land are completely full. So you have oil that you need to take physical delivery of, I believe it's tomorrow. And when they do that, you don't really have any place to put it. Or if you do have a place to put it, there's like a bidding war on that space. So it's a huge headache. And rather than deal with the headache and all of the miscellaneous fees with taking delivery, people will sell their positions. But when they do that enough, then there's not enough of a long position. So now with the Contango, you have prices that are in the future when they expect that you'll get a lot more planes up and going, get a lot more activity going in 2021. But there's price uncertainty until then, and people are going to have to absolutely pay to store the oil. So it's the running around of, like, where do I put it, and then how do I price it without completely losing my hat in the process. So, I mean, as of the present time, there's 15,000 more barrels than there's demand for, and that's double what it was last year, about 7. So it's a difficult time to be taking physical delivery of the oil, especially when these airlines are getting bailouts and they're getting help, but it's in the long term. So the confluence of the problems with OPEC, Saudi Arabia, Russia, and then the corona, and then travel industry being shot to nothing, and then the bailout helping certain people in certain industries. It was supposed to go to a lot of restaurants and small businesses, but it ended up going to a lot of construction and other businesses. So the whole confluence has made it such that, yeah, prices are going to down 36%, as you see on the graph here, in one day. And that's mostly because delivery is tomorrow, so everything's really accelerated. But yeah, I mean, with most other options that are easy to hold, Contango event is such that you can just hold on to it, and then you'll get delivery at a higher price in the future. So people do that for all these cryptocurrencies and things, and if they can hold it, and then it costs essentially $0 to store. I mean, it's not like pork bellies or grass or rice or corn or anything like that. Like, if you can just hold it, then you're guaranteed and locked in a profit. But when it comes to oil and needing huge amounts of volume to properly store either the Brent blend or the WTI, yeah, it's an expensive prospect that people are having difficulty with. And the result is that people are seeing that you're actually getting paid quite a handsome profit to hold on to and have the storage facilities for this oil. So I'll keep an eye on the situation and check in later with me and my channel, Altcoin Author, and I'll give you an update on how I think this is going to go. But so far, it's been an interesting Monday, that's to be sure. Talk to you later.